my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. You're still live right here on S3. It's the Espresso Show. And welcome to another episode of our INGRAMS Skin Sessions, which is a thought-provoking campaign that explores brave conversations beyond the skin we are in. And this week, we are unpacking a brand new topic. Now, Simon Corley, South African anti-apartheid, gay rights and AIDS activist, once said the following: "I am black and I am gay. I cannot separate the two parts of me into secondary or primary struggles. So when I fight for my freedom, I must fight against both oppressions."
Now get this, coming out is a metaphor used to describe LGBTQI plus people's self-disclosure of their sexual orientation or gender identity. But what's interesting is the double standard, because there's no pressure on cisgender, heterosexual individuals to disclose their identities, yet society seems to expect people within the LGBTQI plus community to declare theirs.
Yeah, now we are also seeing an increased recognition of intersectionality, which takes into account people's overlapping identities and experiences in order to understand the complexity of prejudice that they face. Now, joining us this morning to unpack this important topic are two absolutely incredibly proud members of the LGBTQI plus community. Now, we've got choreographer and dancer Courtnae Paul in the building, as well as South African actor and media personality Somizi, Mhlongo, Somgaga. Good morning, you beautiful souls. How are we doing this morning?
Good morning. We're good. How are you?
Oh, it's so good to have you and chat about something so awesome.
I think, Somizi, I'll start with you first. You know, you've mentioned before that you never really felt the need to come out. Why is that? And what were some of the initial difficulties you faced that led you to the point of self-acceptance?
I think I'm a perfect example of the impact having parents and a family that is open-minded, liberal, accepting, and loving you unconditionally. And I was raised that way. I never felt, it's like I never had to be reminded that there's something unusual or abnormal about me. I've always been the same person that I am today. And my parents never even for once sat me down and said, "Are you gay? Are you bisexual? Are you whatever?" I've just been told you are beautiful, smart, you're intelligent, you are confident, you are everything, you are enough. And that translated to the person I became, whether I'm at home or not at home. And it's a perfect example of the saying that people resonate or treat you the way you feel about yourself. Whenever I go to spaces where it's probably supposed to make me feel like there's something wrong with me, I tap into the words and where I come from, that there is completely nothing wrong with me, and I stand up for myself, which is something that I've realized that is not always the same with everybody else. And that's the part that saddens me, because I've never, ever had to announce my sexuality. You know, even now when people say I'm gay, I'm like, I've never said with my mouth that I'm gay. I could be a pansexual, I could be asexual, I could be bisexual, but I've never boxed myself, and thank God to the way I was raised.
And I'm actually thankful for that as well, because you definitely are an inspiration, someone that's living that truth, and I think very blessed to be able to have an environment that actually promotes that. And speaking of truth, Courtney, maybe I can ask you this question. You often showcase your love for your partner on Instagram, which I think a lot of people love so much, but what are some of the positive experiences you've had that have made you appreciate living your truth? And then also, how have you blocked out some of those trolls that don't always have a positive respect and, I guess, understanding of what's really going on?
Yeah, well, I think what's important to note is that everything Somizi just said, my life was completely the opposite. From the get-go, you know, my choices, my partners, my sexuality was always used as a bit of a weapon, you know, and a reason as to why I wouldn't achieve or whatever, you know. So I had a very different mindset growing up that, you know, everything I wanted to do, I needed to do in spite of, you know, being gay, being what I didn't even have a chance to figure it out myself. You know, I always was very sporty growing up. And naturally people made the decision for me. I think growing up in a community of color, you know, it's very easy to get placed in a box if you're not going in the same direction as everybody else. So I moved to Joburg at 21. I started paying my own bills, I buy my own house, and I realized, no, man, these opinions actually do nothing for me, you know, like I'm a recovering people pleaser. So now I'm in a space where I create the positivity, you know. Up until today, at least once a week, I'm getting dragged on social media, but I'm honestly just at a place where I'm so happy. Life is very short. I've lost a lot of people in my life. So I can't afford to wake up on any given day and just not be who I want to be with who I want to love. Like, it's not going to be me. I'd rather die at the sword, you know what I mean, than any other way.
Yes, I love it.
And I'm so happy that both of you guys have found your tribes. And this is maybe a question for both of you. You know, despite living in the first African country to legalize same-sex marriage, I mean, back in 2006 and under a constitution that guards against discrimination based on sexual orientation, LGBTQI plus people say they still fear for their lives every single day. And of course, in recent months, we have seen such an increase in hate crimes, which is insane. Now, in spite of the protections that the law affords us, why do you think these horrific hate crimes are still taking place in today's society?
Sure. You know, people always ask, like, you guys are free now, you know, especially after apartheid, all these things. As women, you're free. As people of color, you're free. I'm still waiting for that day that I ever feel free in any way, shape, or form. As a woman in this country, I'm constantly at risk. Then you add a woman of color who is not interested in any male advance. It puts you, like, I'm a DJ. I spend most of my nights on the road. And all it takes is, hey, can I have your number? And let me say no. I will be followed to my car. I've been through it all at this stage. So for me, the law can say one thing, but it's another thing where you wake up every morning and there's a different hashtag. We're so immune to these things these days because it's constant.
Everything about South Africa that we claim or we've been told has changed for the better. It's only in the book. We are not free at all because the perpetrators know that we are not protected as it states in the book. So until what's in the book translates to the daily lives of the people that are affected and the perpetrators know what the consequences they would face if they break those rights, we are never going to go anywhere.
What do you think we can do to eliminate this description? Let's make this a practical session. Mzansi needs to learn from this. When it comes to the community, how can we bring people together, and maybe what's some of the good advice you may have for those who are unsure about how they can become an ally and also how they can assist the community due to this lack of what I think is just pure low understanding?
This ally thing kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's like, we need to be protected from the straights. No, man, we just need you to not be horrible human beings, you know? We're not asking you to champion the cause. We're not asking you to be gays. We're not asking you to run around in a tutu and say, I accept this thing. We're just saying, stop being horrible human beings. And like you're saying, it comes from a place of just a lack of understanding, lack of education. I often see the comparisons between like homosexuals and criminals, like, these are two consenting adults. So I think that's where it's got to begin with me is let's stop being hypocritical. And if you aren't able to kind of accept things for what they are, then just be a little bit respectful. You know, for me, it's the same discrimination we've seen whether it's racism, whatever. For me, it's all the same. Like one is not greater than the other, you know? So yeah.
Why must I teach you about me for you?
How to treat me. Yeah.
You know, it's the same way, I'll take it back to racism. We have to now teach racists on about being black, being a person of color. No, we are not all criminals. No, we are not all stupid. No, we are not all failures. No, just be a nice person. Just be a good-hearted person. Simple, just be a human. Treat other human beings like you would want to be treated. Parents must know that hate is not inborn. Hate is taught. You teach your children how to hate, and as much as you teach your children how to love. So be careful.
Absolutely love it.
Wow, brave conversation. I think we've both learned so much, and the rest of Mzansi has learned so much from two of you. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much for listening to us. Make sure you join us a little later on our Instagram Live. We're going to be taking this conversation a little bit further.
And on a lighter note, should you find yourself hating another human being for being themselves, take a little scoop of INGRAMS and rub it on your heart.
Oh, there you have it.
There you have
Say
it.
no more. Mic drop moment indeed. Now, of course, guys, coming out is honestly a never-ending process of understanding, accepting, and validating your identity, and of course, those of others. Now, it can be a process fraught with anxiety and fear, but one which is also absolutely liberating. Now, as RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else?
You better say it, okay? Now, you can, of course, join the brave conversation and tell us about who you admire within the LGBTQI plus community. Now, reply to the competition post on the Expresso Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram page with the hashtag #YourSkinYourBrave, and stand the chance to win a 1,000 Rand voucher with INGRAMS. Now, this week's competition closes on Friday, the 16th of July at midday. And remember, those T's and C's can be found on our website, expressoshow.com.
Nourish your skin with INGRAMS Camphor Cream, enriched with camphor and glycerine. Trusted to restore and repair dry skin. INGRAMS, your skin, your brave.